All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Welcome to our UFC on ESPN 10 post-fight coverage here on MMAfighting.com. I am Mike Heck. That is Jose Youngs joining us from Las Vegas. Hell of a fight card tonight. People weren't overly enthused coming in, but it was a lot of fun. We had some big finishes. We had some great performances. We had some fun fights. This one had it all. Myself and Alex Kaylee were
Wait, hold
going
on.
to...
I'm not to interrupt you, Mike. Marvin Torres is about to take the stage right
Oh, and there we go. So I'm done talking. Let's hear from the winner of the co-main event, Marvin Vettori, after his first round finish and his not safe for work post-fight interview with Paul Felder.
Well, congratulations on the victory. I know every victory's nice, but this one had gotten kind of personal. There'd been a journey to get here. So give me the feeling right now. Is it a special feel after this one?
Oh, it's great, man. After like 6 months of hard work, so much has been going on back in Italy. Things were going crazy with all around the world. Italy got hit kind of first. A lot of things. My grandpa died, passed away, and a lot of things, man. He pulled out. London, the guy pulled out. I was always ready. Many guys, I always said yes. Always almost cut. Like if I have to cut to count all the pounds I cut throughout these 6 months, I think I'll go like around like 100 maybe, because so many times I went down close to like 203, 204, kind of like almost like when I see 200, 201, I know I can make weight in the matter of like a week. So 2 weeks out, I might be like 203, 204, and I was like 203, 204. I dropped like every like 3-4 times throughout these times, plus 2 weight cuts. So a lot of diet in these 6 months. Man, it's just sweet, man. It's just sweet, yeah. And a lot of things. I knew I knew the fight would have gone this way. Like I didn't know exactly if I would have knocked him out or submitted him, but I knew he wasn't going. He wasn't ready to go all the way. So I knew at one point he would have faded.
Can you tell me where you were yesterday when you found out he didn't make weight and what went through your mind? How did you find out and what did you do?
You know about it? It's funny, man. So I was right making like my medicals, right? And I know it's always a question mark, his weight. So I'm looking up and I'm watching me while I do the medical, and I'm like, and the doctor is asking me stuff, and I'm like, no, what the fuck, this guy again, blah, blah, blah. And then the doctor was asking me like, stay quiet, I gotta check your medicals and stuff. And I'm like, man, this guy just missed weight again, and then I come out, and the funny thing, the whole thing, now I'm a crazy guy. Like, he's like, Sean, I came out, Sean Shelby's like, Marvin, quiet. I'm like, I'm quiet, man, don't worry. Like, I'm not going to jump on anybody. But, yeah, man, that was, then he told me, and, yeah, man, he fucked up. Like, he fucked up too many times. I don't know where he should go to fight after, but, man, like, if he can't make weight. And I knew, man, and plus, all these things, like, all these months, so much uncertainty, because I was like, man, how is he going to make weight? How is he going to make weight? It's impossible. I know he's not going to make weight. He didn't make weight with all this time before, but nobody seemed like they were seeing my point. And I'm like, how this guy didn't see my point? This guy's not going to make weight. In fact, he didn't make weight, but I didn't care about not making weight. In fact, there was not a moment where I said, nah, like, I was like, I don't care. Just step into that cage. And at least he did that, and he got his beating, and now, I mean, on we go.
I know the biggest goal for you is that rematch with Adesanya, but you'll probably have to get a couple wins to get there. What do you think is next for you? I know you said you weren't sure if you'd need some time off or if you'd want to fight again. So at this moment, what do you think the right next move is for you?
We'll see, but I want a ranked opponent. This Ian Haney should have been doing everything to duck me, and now he has another fight lined up. But honestly, like whoever is in the top 15, top 10, man, I'm not the guy that gives a lot of credit to rankings, but I know I have to go through those to get a title shot. And it's still kind of a long road, but you know, so many things has been going on, and that's why I've been ready at any time for so long, because I'm like, I'm on a mission, man. These guys don't get it. I know coronavirus, safety, this and that, but man, I think different. Like this is I don't know, people, like they say, even like if you talk about with, like in general, they say this is your platform. This is not your life. This and that, but this is my life, man. Like I just breathe, eat, and think MMA, and all I want is to get the title. So I need to keep going, and I couldn't let myself off the hook even throughout these adversities.
All right. Did you say your grandfather passed away?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he did. He has been sick for a long time. He was old. He was like 93 or 94. It was coming, but just the fact that I couldn't be there was bad. You know, like this is when family. It's important, like being around in hard times, and I mean, it was a long time coming in a sense. It wasn't something out of nowhere, but I wanted to be there. You know, I couldn't even be there for the funeral. I couldn't see him. So that's why that what hurt me. And yeah, man. I mean, in fact, I wanted to dedicate this win to him.
Is the rest of your family okay?
Yeah, and I wanna precise that like it wasn't because of the coronavirus. He just passed away. He was old and he passed away. Yeah, everybody else is good. Now in Italy, the situation is much better actually.
And then you said you had to cut weight a lot. You had to get your nutrition on point for like so many months. So physically, how did you feel in there after so many weight cuts back to back?
Oh man, I truly believe I have the best nutritionist in the game. He's not as known as still, but he will be. He's Matteo Capodaglio with his Capo Nutrition. And man, we were sharp, man. I felt the best I've ever felt throughout these 6 months. Now that means we did a great job, even cutting on and off, whatever. Like we were just because they call me, I'm ready. If I say yes, I'm gonna be ready. Otherwise, I'm not gonna say yes. But if I say yes, I'm not gonna make no excuses. We're gonna fucking do it. But he did a great job, man. I'm sticking to his plans, and then he's doing. And again, like he's great with like. He's not the kind of guy that cuts all your carbs out and you're just feeling like debilitated more and more and more throughout times. He knows his stuff, man. And then I'm his first athlete. I've been with him forever, but he made so much improvement. He has other UFC fighters, Lauren Murphy also, and other people. But man, yeah, we did a great job. I picked at the right time, even throughout all these adversities and these uncertainty, I still felt the best tonight.
That if you want to keep fighting frequently this year, I'm sure you're going to have to. You saw Fight Island was announced. You don't have any issues going to Abu Dhabi and having to quarantine there for like a month, do you?
I'll wait a moment to see what is going on, and then we'll see. I'm good. I'm good to go. I just I haven't been back home for a long time. A lot of things. Maybe I'm gonna catch a very little break. We'll see. We'll see how things are if I go back and I can come back really quick, or there's gonna be any quarantine times. Because I really pushed everything after this fight. So we'll see. But yeah, I want to be back in the mix pretty soon. I don't know if I will make it for Fight Island, but soon. Oh, really? I got a fucking bonus. First of my UFC fights. Fuck yeah.
Well, that was a heck of a reaction. Marvin Vettori just found out that he got his first bonus in the UFC, and I gotta be honest with you, Jose, I didn't think that was coming after his after like being censored on ESPN for 45 seconds. The UFC usually frowns upon those types of post-fight interviews, but kudos to Marvin Vettori. Gets a bonus, got a finish. Pretty good night for him, was it not?
I mean, that goes without saying. Like he said himself, like months and months and months preparing for the same guy. His head's all over the place. His grandfather passes away. The coronavirus hits Italy really soon, and you gotta. This has to be like the win is big. Like get it off his chest, but to get that extra $50K, I can't even. I don't know what it's like to get $50,000 all up front. So I'm not going to pretend that he's just leaving right now. He's like dancing out the door. You can't see him, but yeah, Marvin Vettori is the happiest man in Las Vegas right now.
I bet. So if you're just joining us, we are here for the post-fight press conferences. We just heard from Marvin Vettori after his first-round submission win. We still have to hear from UFC President Dana White, who once again was sitting cage side, this time sans mask tonight, which had a lot of people talking on Twitter. We'll also hear from Cynthia Calvillo after her dominant decision win over Jessica I knew there would be a 48-47 in there somewhere, and the judges did not let me down. But, Jose, this is the third event you have covered at the UFC Apex. This is a fun one, even though the buzz was not as high as the other two events, perhaps. Obviously, with UFC 250 and then Woodley versus Burns. This one kind of flew under the radar, and I thought it delivered. What say you?
Oh, flying under the radar would be an understatement. I mean, you had people like lambasting this. Like, people are like, oh, I guess I can take a week off of watching fights. I'm like, I mean, you can technically do that anytime you want. You don't have to just pick this card. But yeah, it was a good. It was a good night. There was no real duds. As like you always get one of those fights that's just like, what even? I can't even remember what happened in that fight. Even the Espinoza De La Rosa fight, which to me is it wasn't a dud by any means. That seems to be the one that was like the least violent. That's just because Espinoza was so dominant with his striking, was so on point. So, and even then, he had like 101 strikes in the opening round, and most of them were on one leg. So, because De La Rosa was going for the single leg takedown, so every fight had something unique about it. Of all the fights I've covered, last week was special just because it had all the title fights and everything. The first one was special because it was the first one here, and so this one, the what do you call it? The theme continues where every fight has something unique about it. Every fight card has something unique about it.
So we have one bonus. I haven't been able to find the rest. But I want to talk about the first three fights because they all ended in under a minute. It tied the record for sub 1 minute finishes for a card in UFC history, and that happened after the third fight of the night. It was just a wild start, and since we may not touch on some of these in the post-fight show, Christian Aguilera is a guy that you've covered a lot in your career on the local scene. Came in as a slight underdog tonight, despite having a decent-sized experience advantage. I think this is the 11th fight for Anthony Ivy. It was the 20th fight for Christian Aguilera, and man, he made the most of his time tonight before he heads back to his 3 jobs. Did he not?
Yeah, it was. I don't want to say I didn't give him a shot because Christian Aguilera is one of the toughest guys I've covered. Like, whether he wins or loses, he's always at least an entertaining fight. But I said this on the preview show, like, it seems like every time he gets that opportunity to even get to the UFC, he either has not a lackluster, but like he loses or he doesn't have the performance he needs to punch his ticket. You could tell like his post-fight scrum or interview, whatever you want to call it, or presser was like, you could tell like how much this contract meant to him. And he said he wants to get right back. He was offered a fight last week. So he was like, I have to make weight in like 48 hours. And then they bumped it to this week. He's like, thank God. So he hasn't even had a full camp yet in his UFC career. So I'm interested to see where he goes from here.
Well, he's going to have an extra $50,000 because he got a bonus as well. Tyson Nam got a performance bonus, and Maria Agapova got the other bonus tonight. So I'm pretty surprised Julia Avila not get that bonus. But let's talk about surprising. Yeah, so those are your 4. No fight of the night. I do want to talk about Tyson Nam, though. What a knockout that was, and it was a huge moment for him. This guy has fought all over the world for well over a decade. He picked up some big wins, some big finishes. People were screaming, get this guy into the UFC, and he finally gets a shot, and they throw him in with Sergio Pettis on short notice. Then he gets Kai Kara France, and he lost both of those fights, but he didn't look overwhelmed at all. But that knockout tonight, vintage Tyson Nam, huge moment for him tonight. What was he like in the post-fight press conference? Because he was very emotional after the victory.
He himself said, like, I was fighting for a pink slip. Like, he was like, I was waiting to get released pretty much every day. He's like, I could get released any moment. And then he was fighting for his job. And then his performance, he was kind of holding it back in. And then I straight up asked him, does it mean anything that you just destroyed a former K1 champion? Because the guy who was fighting, it has all the accolades of kickboxing. Does it mean anything? He goes, no. And they all throw punches and kicks. We do it in Hawaii for fun. So might as well get paid to do it in the octagon. So one of the quotes of the night. So yeah, he was, I don't want to say grateful, but you could tell the magnitude of, like, if I lose, I'm not going to be in the UFC anymore. And he really hammered that home in his post-fight press conference.
I like Jordan Espinoza's call out of Tyson Nam as well. And I believe Espinoza said he turned down 3 weeks ago. Is that what he said?
Say that again?
Espinoza say that They offered he offered a fight with Nam, and Nam turned it down.
Yeah, and he said there's no beef whatsoever. He's like, that's a name. I was supposed to fight him already. He turned it down. I put the pressure on him now by putting it out there in the world. So no disrespect. He want to fight, and Espinosa wants to go to Fight Island because he's never been overseas in any aspect, whether on vacation or fighting. So wants to fight on Fight Island.
You're supposed to fight in Kazakhstan tonight, as a
That's
matter
correct.
of fact. So yeah, we're almost Piotr Jan versus Marlon Moraes tonight. Imagine that. But still a good main event. Yeah. Julia Avila, I've been talking about her for a long time now. It had been approaching a year since her UFC debut win over Pani Kianzad through no fault of her own, because they kept offering her fights with Carol Rosa, and it fell out 4 different times for various reasons. But Gina Mazzani steps up on 9 days' notice. She lands a nice combination early on, but all that did was just piss Julia off and turn her into the Raging Panda, and she just unloaded with this violent flurry and gets her first finish in the UFC. She is a legit 135-pounder and someone, in my opinion, that could be fighting for a title sometime in 2021. What do you think?
Yeah, 2021 is I mean, it just goes to show you they're running out of challengers in that weight class. But she said that herself, like, I want to earn my way. She wants to string together a few more wins and earn her way up the bracket, because she herself said, like, I am super young in my career. Because she took 3 years off from fighting, because her and her husband moved from California to Oklahoma, and she wanted to find a new home gym. Like, she wanted to find a team to train with. So she took a lot of time to kind of find the right system to incorporate into, and that kind of, she lost a few years in the cage, but she found a team that she's now comfortable with. So she's doing all the right things. She knows it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Like, she said it a million times. Like, I can run a marathon if I want. So yeah, you're not wrong. Super exciting. She showed the picture of with her and Dana White talking in the back. So very well spoken. Like one of the nicest women on the roster. She's sewing masks for COVID. People who need masks during the COVID pandemic. She said she would get right to it. She goes, if you need a mask, I got you. So yeah, you're not wrong. She called herself, she wanted to be, quote, a ray of sunshine during these hard times. So yeah, title contender, a very remarkable woman, but she's in no rush. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I would agree with that. She's not like ready to jump in and fight Amanda Nunes tomorrow, but she's definitely up for a top 15 opponent, and then just kind of make your way. There's no need to rush at somebody like her, because you slowly move her up the ranks, let her get some wins, let her continue to build herself up. And I think she's got star potential written all over her, just because of the way she fights, the way she conducts herself, and I forget the quote she always said. She's unapologetically her. Like, she's not gonna like change for anybody, which I can appreciate. And plus, she just is such a good fighter.
Yeah, she also just happens to, like, she went to Notre Dame. She's I don't know what she have, like a PhD or something. Like, I don't even know if it's a PhD. She has a background in geology. So, like, if you can ask her about, like, rocks, and she'll just talk to you about it for hours. I remember her last fight was during the earthquake in Las Vegas, and then this week it's during a pandemic. So if Julia Avila fights, something is going to happen in the world that's going to dominate the headlines outside of fighting. But yeah, interesting woman. One very, very interesting woman. I can't wait to see when she returns.
Absolutely. For those joining us, this is the start of our UFC on ESPN 10 post-fight coverage on MMA fighting. I am Mike Heck, virtually alongside Jose Youngs, who is in Las Vegas. We are still waiting the arrivals, as you can see on the screen, of UFC President Dana White and Cynthia Calvillo, who had a big win over Jessica Ai. This was a very interesting night of fights. Charles Rosa, I think one of the more interesting stats of the night was Charles Rosa gets a win over Kevin Aguilar. That was his first UFC win outside of the TD Garden in Boston. He's the winningest fighter at the TD Garden. He's got more wins there. He surpassed Conor McGregor. So this is an interesting moment for him. Second time fighting in an empty arena, gets the victory. Had a nice momentum swing in rounds 2 and 3, and gets a W outside of Boston.
Yeah, but he also said he wants to get back to Boston. So it's not like he's like, yeah, I'll fight anyway. He's like, yeah, I want to go fight in Boston. He knows he has the most wins in Boston. He wants to keep that rolling. He said he feeds off adrenaline. So he wants to feed. What was it like? I feed off my people. I want to go back to Boston. I was like, all right, well, he's not going to go back anytime soon, my guy. I'm sorry to break it to you.
Yeah. The Bruins will be back in Boston before he'll be back in Boston. I don't even know if they're going to be able to play there, but so good win for him. Andre Fili versus Charles Jourdain. That was a great fight. That was everything we hoped it would be. I'm surprised that we didn't get a fight of the night. I thought that was a shoo-in for fight of the night,
Same.
but again, Dana White went to the peeps for the performance bonuses tonight. He took to social media, he made a video, and he said, "We messed up a couple of weeks ago. You guys need to help us decide." And I mean, I'm not mad at it. Maria Agapova, that's another performance we need to talk about. She looked great tonight.
I was really disappointed they didn't bring her back for a
I know.
post-fight press conference. I had a few questions. She's very vocal on her love of painting on her Instagram, and you know me, I'm all about these random niche hobbies that fighters have, whether it be books or movies or coffee or music or painting. I'm all in. So I was a little disappointed, but yeah, unbelievable performance. So I think they not a contender yet. I think this was her debut, right? She lost the contender series to Chasey Cortez, then a couple was in a Victor fight, and then now she's in the UFC. So not a contender yet, but someone with a very bright future.
Merab Dvalishvili, another just suffocating performance, but you got to give props and kudos to Gustavo Lopez, who just showed that he was tougher than a $2 steak tonight. He just kept getting up, kept scrambling. He looks like a guy that with a full camp can do some damage. Someone posted on Twitter they want to see Gustavo Lopez versus Louis Smolka. I think that's a great matchup. But as far as Merab Dvalishvili goes, I posted on Twitter, I can't see anybody in the top 15 in the bantamweight division right now being like, ooh, I can't wait to fight Merab Dvalishvili. I mean, that is just a scary man who just suffocates you all night long. Doesn't stop.
I'm gonna pull up the rankings right now, and I'll tell you who I want him to fight. Bantamweight.
He wants O'Malley. I don't think he gets that fight. I don't
He's
think
not
that's
gonna get
smart
O'Malley
for business, but he's been shouting that one out for months.
I mean, give him Eddie Wineland. He just lost to O'Malley. We've had a lot of bantamweights fighting lately. So
He needs a ranked guy, though.
yeah, but like
Just beat a ranked guy 2 fights ago.
That's true, but like I don't think they're gonna give him Song Yadong. I don't think they're gonna give him Dotson. They're not gonna give him Font or Stamen or Rivera or a Sunsell maybe. He's coming off that loss to Cody, and he's on a little bit of a slide, so he might have to say yes.
Oh yeah,
it's one of those situations where he's lost, so he can't afford to say no. So that might be one they try to give him. Let me see. It kind of reminds me. Yeah, it has to be that. It has to be that.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I don't think Song Yadong. Well, maybe Song Yadong.
Or Cheeto Vera's out there. He just lost to Song Yadong.
Yeah, I actually think like at the end of the day, I actually was a proponent of O'Malley versus Faber, but O'Malley doesn't seem interested in that fight these days. So O'Malley versus Cheeto is probably the fight to make in that sense, just because they're trying.
O'Malley versus Song. They're 14-15, and Song just beat Cheeto.
Oh, there you go.
I think that's they're literally on top of each other in the rankings, and Song just beat the guy O'Malley was originally supposed to fight a few times. So I like that. I like Song versus O'Malley.
Him and Rob Font would be fun, but Font is recovering from ACL surgery, so he's out till at least the end of the year, maybe the beginning of next year. But a big win for Dvalishvili. I didn't watch the post-fight presser. Did he talk about the little victory parade that his team threw for him today?
No, not specifically. He just mostly talked about his team just being like family. You know, the usual situation like that. But he was so excited when I told him that he broke his own record. He like stood up and he was like, yeah, and he was like flexing, and he was. I've never seen like it looks. It's like he won the UFC championship. Like that's how excited he was. He knows he knew he put on a good performance, and it was selfishly I liked the Andre Fili post-fight press conference, but Casey was watching the Merab one because I sent him the file, and he was just like, whoa, that guy is intense. So yeah, if you haven't watched it, go watch that one. It was a very good press conference.
Yeah, he's like the nicest guy in the world too.
100%.
Yeah, it was a great performance from him. I don't play DraftKings, but I like to go in and just see how these guys score. And Merab Dvalishvili had like 180 DraftKings points tonight with those 13 takedowns. That's just crazy.
I don't even know what that means, but
it's a lot. That is ridiculous. That is a ridiculous number. a ridiculous number.
I don't think we can even play that in Arizona, so it's over.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, Merab, the one thing that was missing from that performance was Ray Longo and Matt Serra in his corner. Like, that just having those two guys in an empty arena setting, and I understand why they're not there. We have a pandemic going on, and there's families involved, and there's other people at the gym and stuff. But hearing Matt Serra and Ray Longo just screaming Merab throughout that fight would have just been something to behold, Jose.
Yeah, it would have put what was Devin Clark's dad. It would have rivaled that. So yeah, I had not even thought about that. So a little bit of a bummer, but having Sterling and Ally Quinton in your corner is not a bad alternative.
Absolutely. And just to tease an article that is dropping tomorrow on MMA Fighting from my interview with Devin Clark. Apparently, Devin Clark and his dad almost got into like a fist fight before the weigh-ins because
why?
Because Devin Clark was trying to, cut the last couple of pounds. So he's in one of the rooms just hitting pads and stuff. And his dad is doing like a FaceTime call with somebody. He comes in talking to a friend. So he's got the camera on Devin, and Devin was like livid. And his dad was just like, "What the F are you talking about?" And they got like face to face, nose to nose. And Devin said they almost like went at it. So you'll hear all about that story tomorrow.
Yeah, don't mess with a man, can't wait. It's like rule number 1 in MMA.
Yes, absolutely. Agapo, we talked about her. Great win. Jordan Espinoza needed that one against Mark De La Rosa. Mark De La Rosa, super tough guy.
Dana White is about to take the stage, so I'm going to cut off.
Reason most of you are probably here right now. The UFC president, Dana White, reacting to another night of fights at the UFC Apex. This one delivered. You'll hear the bonuses. I'm sure there'll be lots of fun questions for the UFC president. Here he is.
Everybody got a performance of the night bonus tonight instead of fight of the night. Aguilera, Nam, Agapova, and Vittori all won $50,000. So congratulations to them. John Morgan, what do you got for me, buddy?
First night back cage side in the Apex, right? So I'm curious, kind of why you were there tonight. Normally you've been watching in the back, right?
It's the first one. No,
for you, have you been out?
Brett asked me that too.
Yeah, no. I thought it was the first time you've been there.
No, I've been watching it out there.
Nice. It was a card that was kind of getting criticized a little bit coming in. I know you don't really listen to the critics much, but it ended up being a great night. Just curious.
It always does.
I was gonna say, do you take personal pleasure when it's like you hear people shitting on a card and it ends up being a night like that?
It's just, listen, 20 years. How many bad cards have we had in 20 years? I can count on one hand. Listen, not every fight is for everybody. Don't watch this one. Watch the next one. Don't watch the next 3. Watch the one after the Believe Me. We got nothing but fights going on all this summer. So if you don't like it, don't watch it. But everybody's got to jump in there and give their 2 cents and chime in. This card sucks. No cards suck. And if you're a fight fan, you watch all the fights.
Your main event, Cynthia Calvillo, I know somebody you had been high on. She had a couple setbacks. She moves up a division. What did you think about her first performance in the flyweight division? She
looked great tonight. She fought the perfect fight. I think that stand-up looked good. Her ground game looked good. Going into the 5th round, she stood, didn't sit on the stool, had a strong 5th round. She looked good. Her first 5-round fight. And, she looked good.
It's an interesting position because Jessica was the number 1 contender. Now, I'm not saying that Cynthia should get a title shot next, but, when somebody comes in to a new division and beats the number 1 contender right away, do you consider them to be like in the mix at that point?
Listen, if you beat the number 1 contender, look at Gilbert Burns. Just happened to him. When you beat number 1. Yeah.
Last thing for me, I know you don't like talk about the small cage, big cage difference, but everybody's been loving these fights, and they've been saying it's got to be that cage.
Were the fights in Jacksonville bad?
They weren't.
They were great. It's all an illusion. It's bullshit. It's not true.
Dan, a couple weeks ago when I asked you about there was a lot of backlash on the bonuses. Did you put a video out asking fans to pick?
Yeah, so I came in here last week and you guys were like, people are bitching about thing, and then I said, who agreed with me? So I was sitting there thinking tonight, you know what? I'm going to let the fans and the media chime in before I get in the 10. So yeah, and Eric ran what'd you do? You ran the numbers on it to see what the fans and whoever from the media, voted, and we got percentages. So that's why we ended up just doing all performance of the night bonuses. So you were heard tonight before, there's 3 of us that decide who's going to get them. And tonight, everybody got the pick.
And Julia Villa got a big win. After she herself said a lot of fights falling out, a lot of stuff going on in the world. She posted a photo of you two talking after her fight. What did you say to Julia?
Yeah, incredible fight. She had an incredible performance. She looked good. And what I told her was, I said, listen, if you feel good, if you feel okay, and, adrenaline's still pumping, go home tonight, sleep, whatever. Let's turn you right around and fight again. I love when kids look like that and turn right around them. Her, Sugar Sean O'Malley. I mean, these kids that are on fire and have records like that, keep them fighting.
And then one final one. I'm sure you heard about the incident in San Antonio. Someone shot
up. How crazy is that shit? This world is just fucking bananas right now. Agapova too. I think she should turn around and fight again too.
Well, the person that shot up that bar said, "Don't you know who I am? I'm a UFC fighter," but they haven't caught the guy or said his name. So as the president of a company, what goes through your head when you hear that?
Well, if you don't think that I heard about that one at 7 a.m. this morning, you know what I mean? I hope it's not true. But I hear that shit all the time. You know how many fucking bald guys in this town walk around and say they're me? It's mind-boggling, you guys. If I told you some of these stories, you wouldn't believe it. It's just crazy. So I'm hoping that that's the case.
One final one. Since you've announced Fight Island, how many fighters have reached out trying to get on a Fight Island card?
Well, we already have the Fight Island cards filled. So, but yeah, everybody digs it. Everybody wants to be a part of it. And for us too, for me and my staff, it's going to be a fun, unique, the safety zone. There's a 10-mile radius where it's just us. Nobody else in hotels, the restaurants, or any of that stuff. It's just us. So it's going to be fun. All the fighters have their own private training facilities, and it's going to be badass. It's going to be a different experience. Even veterans who've been in the sport for a long time and done a lot of cool shit, this is going to be completely different than anything they've ever done.
Hey, Dana. Obviously, President Trump is talking about having rallies again, stuff like that, which begs up the question, when can you get fans back into the building? What do you need to see before you start thinking about going into arenas?
I think it's going to depend on, this whole thing is state by state or country by country. I know that there's a couple of states right now looking to open up to fans, and we're talking to them.
Would you consider doing a thing where you have fans socially distanced, or would you rather just, if you're going to do it, wait until you can do it fully?
Yeah, I won't do that. I won't do a 50% arena. I'll just stay here. It makes more sense just to stay here.
In New Zealand yesterday, they had their first sporting event, rugby, with fans. Could you potentially have Israel Adesanya fight Paulo Costa in New Zealand?
Was it a full arena? Yeah. Well, what's good is let them do that for a while and see how it goes and see what happens with, depending on which network you listen to, who the hell knows what's going on. So at least if some of these guys in these other countries who were hit before we were, so they're coming out of it before we are, and they can see how this thing plays out, and then we'll go from there.
Dana, to follow up on something you said, what do guys get away with pretending they're you?
A lot of shit. A lot of shit. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Real quick with Maria Agapova, we heard that she was sick following her victory. It was a quick one, so can you tell us what's the status of her?
No, she said she's sick. Huh?
So just a little winded after the fight?
Yeah, I didn't hear. Yeah.
Dana, you've talked a lot about how other sports leagues have already called you and how you socially distance and all your protocols. And I know you didn't say which ones, but what have they? Can you tell us what they've asked for and how well you guys have done making all of this safe in terms of and do you think it's progressing each time you do this?
Well, we gave them the 30-page document that we gave to Florida and Nevada. We gave them the protocol that we use to reopen the offices here. And yeah, I think this thing does get better every time we do it. It's getting more comfortable too. I'm sure it is for you guys too. And, you know, I don't know how long this is going to go on, but if I got to get that Q-tip stuck down my throat one more time, I'm so fucking sick of that. I'm really getting tired of it. I want to go back to the nose, if we can go back to the nose. But it's, I don't know how long this is going to go on, but it's getting old.
One more. Mirab called out Sean O'Malley after his big win. Do you have any?
Who did?
Mirab after he won.
Okay.
He broke his own record for takedowns in a fight at bantamweight. He wants to fight Sean O'Malley. This is now another fighter calling him out. So do you have any plans for Sean O'Malley right now?
Yeah, like I was saying, you know, for these kids that are young and come out of these fights quick, I like to turn them around quick and keep them busy. If you look at, you know, the Conor McGregors, the Ronda Rouseys, and many others that fought a lot and stayed in front of everybody, especially right now where there's so many, you know, there's not much going on. So many people are watching. Like, this is everybody's time to shine. The sport is at a whole nother level right now. You know what I mean? When we first started on ESPN, you know, if you looked at the ESPN totem pole, right? You had, you know, NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, these guys, right? And we were down we were like one notch above cornhole, okay? Now we sit in a much better place on the ESPN totem pole than we did, you know, when we signed this deal a year and a half ago. And which, by the way, cornhole almost outrated Top Rank the other night for their live fights. So congratulations to Top Rank and Bob Arum. Just give him a shout out. Good job, Bob. You're fucking brilliant, you dickhead. Any other questions? Have a good night.
Wow, talk about an exclamation point to wrap up a post-fight presser. I was waiting for it. I was like, wow, Dana seems very happy. He hasn't really took a dump on anybody. But then at the very end, he throws out the ratings. That cornhole outperformed Top Rank and then had some kind words for his good buddy, Bob Arum. Wow. And according to the YouTube comments, since I started with MMA fighting, if there's one person that can go to Vegas and pretend to be Dana White, I guess I'm that guy, because everyone keeps saying I'm his little brother or his son, whatever. But a lot to unpack there from the UFC president, Jose. I wish I could hear you.
Jose.
He's coming. Now I can
There
hear
you go. Well, it was a lot of what's the phrase? I mean, I feel like this is the third week in a row, and we're gonna get the same answers every time. I mean, did he answer my Sean O'Malley question?
Not particularly.
No, I said, what do you have next for Sean O'Malley? To use that as a. Cynthia's up.
Here's Cynthia Calvillo, turning it right around. Here we go.
Congratulations on your victory, a big win in a main event in your new division. Give an idea kind of how you're feeling after that performance.
I feel good. I mean, I'm always a little bit hard on myself because I want to get the finish, but I got to remind myself that I just took out the #1 contender in the flyweight division. So I should feel great, but I want that finish next time. I understand I had a really short camp, but we're going to get it done next time.
Kind of a slow start coming out. I was curious if that was, by design or if it was just, getting used to what happened in the opening round.
It was just, it's been a weird time, and this whole camp felt really weird for me. I mean, when I first started, I accepted this fight, I was literally in the gym for 1 week, and the next day I had a fight lined up. So it was just really weird, and especially because it was a 5th round fight. And so it took me a little while to just really get warmed up there, really get my feet going. I felt like I was a little slow. I was kind of going her pace. And then I was like, man, at the end of the day, like, I need to, I moved up to flyweight, but I need to move my feet like I was a strawweight. I know I'm quick on my feet, so I needed to get my feet going a little bit more. So, the first round was a little bit slow, but I also knew that I'd get stronger as the rounds go.
you were saying all the right things coming in, but I mean, was there doubt? Was there concern? Like, am I not going to be ready for this?
I mean, it always is because this was my first like 5-round fight, and then on top of that, I knew she was going to be huge. She had missed weight, and to be honest, she didn't miss weight by 0.2. She actually missed weight by a lot more, but she held onto the towel when she got on the scale. And I know this because we received a text message from her coach, letting us know she was going to miss weight by 3.5 pounds, not 0.2. But when she showed up, she held the towel and got away with that. That's why she was so proud after she weighed in, and she was so happy that she's like, I only missed weight by 2 points out. No. So she went into this fight a lot heavier than I did. So not only did I move up a weight class, I got somebody that was a bantamweight, like going in there, not fighting as flyweight.
What did you think? I mean, obviously the frustration is coming out. I mean, was there any possibility of saying, we don't want to fight you or demand more money or whatever it may be?
Absolutely not. I mean, I'm a fighter. I mean, I've missed weight before too, and everybody accepted the fight. I've fought people who've missed weight too, but it's all about how you carry yourself too outside when you miss weight. When I miss weight, I locked myself in the hotel and I freaking cried for hours. I wasn't running around fucking smiling. Sorry, excuse my language, but I wasn't like smiling and blah, blah, blah. So it was definitely different demeanor, but I knew that I needed to like put that behind me. At the end of the day, I mean, I like Jessica and stuff like that, but just the way that whole ordeal with the weight happened, like it wasn't cool, but I knew that I was gonna, it's my job, so I was gonna show up.
Last thing for me, you said you beat the top contender. Another top contender, Caitlin Chukagian, has already taken to Twitter and say, hey, she'd like to fight with you. So I'm curious if that's a matchup that you think makes sense or what you see next for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm just trying to stay busy. So whatever fight, whoever, I got to go get an MRI done. Just make sure I'm good to go. But as soon as I'm cleared, we're ready to line the next one up.
Cynthia, right here. Between rounds, Jessica seemed pretty confident she was winning. Between rounds, were you confident you were winning?
I know I was like winning the fights, but you never know with the judges. I know that her and her team were trying to sell it to the judges in between rounds, but I mean, you're not gonna fool anyone. I think it's just like, it just sucks because you must have the wrong people around you. They should tell you, like, if you're not winning the fight, they should tell you you're not, so you can push harder. They should not be giving her that false confidence. I feel like she did a lot of wrong things, and I don't think she deserved to. I didn't think she would have deserved to be the winner tonight. I already knew what her coaches were yelling in between rounds, because even some of the combinations I used to, like, I actually know some of them. So they were just trying to put in a show for the judges. I'm glad that they seen through the bullshit. Sorry, excuse my language again.
You said you wanted to stay active. The UFC just announced Fight Island, and that seems to be their plans for moving forward for a little bit. So if you want to keep fighting, you probably have to go to Abu Dhabi. Is that something you'd be open to?
Yeah, man, I'm ready to fight all over the world, just like freaking Mortal Kombat. Let's go everywhere. Street Fighter.
Cynthia, there's 3 pizza places within 1 mile. Have you thought about where you're going to get that pepperoni, pineapple, and jalapeno to celebrate?
Man, dude, I really, that was the plan, but then I got invited to eat some tacos. So we're going to eat at Mas Por Favor tacos tonight with some tequila. So we're eating tacos tonight and pizza tomorrow.
Everyone talked about, like moving up and all that. Like now on the other side of it, did you feel as strong as you wanted to? Did you feel like you handled everything for your move up to flyweight pretty well?
Yeah, absolutely. Considering everything that was going on, I mean, I think that this is a division that I belong. I'm going to be able to, pick up my strength a little bit more. I barely got to train for this and even got prepared. I was in the middle of switching gyms when this pandemic hit. And I'm extremely proud that, the fighter in me was able to pull this out, because this is not even the best me that you guys have seen. Like, that's yet to come.
You talked about, when you're in the empty arena, you want to be able to hear everything, the other corner and all that. Were you able to do that?
I was. I knew what combinations they were asking for. I knew exactly what they were doing, except for they were like, do Kevin Lee. I don't know what combination that was, but when she was yelling like 1 body, 2 body, that's all Bang Muay Thai stuff. And I think, Eric, coach, obviously practices all those moves. I trained under Dwayne Ludwig for a long time when he was at Team Alpha Male. So I knew those moves she's throwing. Those are a lot of combinations that I actually throw. So he was saying those combinations, and I think I was throwing the combinations. She wasn't. So
Final question. With the stuff going on at flyweight, a lot of people feel like it is wide open after Jojo Calderwood. Being that this is your division and there's a champion like Valentina who's been so dominant, making noise, as the contender, how do you feel like when that's the target at the end of it?
I mean, I feel great. It's exciting to have such a great champion. You know, at first I wanted to stick around at the strawweight division because it was so competitive. And I was like, man, I want to be the champion of, you know, the best women's division in the UFC. And the strawweight division is just so deep, so talented. It's so much harder to get that title shot at the strawweight division. And so I was stubborn about it, but I knew eventually I'd have to move to flyweight. And unfortunately, you know, I've had my mishaps. So I need to come up here. And I think Valentina, she's an amazing champ. I mean, she's probably the only fighter that gave Amanda Nunes a tough fight. And Amanda Nunes is the freaking baddest woman on the planet right now. So, yeah, it's motivating. You know, I do know that I also need a lot of work to do, but I'm down to fight whenever, you know, whoever, you know, whether it be a title fight or not. But, you know, it motivates me. It motivates me a lot that we have such a dominant champion right now as Valentina.
Yeah, after Jessica missed weight, she went on Instagram and said that she was proud of missing like this 0.25. But when you see that and you realize it wasn't 0.25, it was actually like 3 or 4 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
What do you make of her saying she's proud of that, even though she's lying about the number?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it would have been, you know, it's not the first time a fighter has like done that and like, you know, hold on to a towel or like try to take pounds off from the scale and stuff. But it's like, okay, yeah, go ahead, you know, go about it, just suck it up and be quiet and then show up the next day. But the simple fact that she was like, right after she weighed in, she was so happy. She came up to me, even though I know it was bullshit. I just said, yeah, fine. She came up, she's like, oh, it was only 2.2, girl, only 2 point. But I knew, because she came up to, but I knew she had missed by more. But she was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, don't worry about it. Because I knew that I was going to go and show her up the next day, you know? But then she goes online, you know, and then she's like, oh, you know, guys, I only missed by 2.2. I should have peed and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Man, if it was that easy, then maybe you would have peed. Maybe you would have cut your hair to, like, really, if it was only 0.2. It was just bullshit, and it wasn't cool, like, just how she carried it. You know, I'm cool with Jessica, but just the way she handled the whole weight cut was not cool.
If you got told in advance she's going to miss weight, and then she got on the scales, did the towel trick, and then actually made weight, she's taken money out of your pocket, would you have said something?
Absolutely. 100%, because we have the texts from her coach messaging my manager saying she was 129.6 30 minutes before she weighed in. She magically took 3 pounds off. I don't think so. It's not going to fly.
Cynthia, I just wanted to ask about the journey. You seemed a little emotional there in the beginning. And so the journey for you going back home to San Jose from the alpha male and then to Sacramento and then all the different camps that you've moved along with, how has like AKA really helped you, and how has it been the journey being back home to San Jose?
Honestly, it's been crazy. I mean, I'd be lying to say if I wasn't worried or nervous coming into a fight without like going in with a new team and not being able to really, you know, get comfortable with everyone. Everything was a little bit off, like everything. Like I had to switch striking coaches a couple times because we had no gym. Like everything got shut down. Like in reality, I literally probably had my one main coach, which is Ron Kessler, and he's been doing everything in his power to make sure that I was prepared for his fight. You know, I have my other teammates, Aunt Doe, you know, Zach helping me out too. So it's like, I'm extremely grateful to be able to have people that I could rely on, you know, and it felt good to be back home with my family. You know, I got a reminder of why I'm doing this, you know, and I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing it for all the kids and all the people that grew up in Eastside San Jose, you know, people, you know, against all odds, you know, I'm not supposed to be sitting up here, but we're fucking doing it.
You said that, and I saw that video where you went back to Overfelt, and I know the area pretty well. So when you go back there and you know, I don't know if you got the opportunity to speak to the kids, and I'm just wondering like how they may have reacted to you being a UFC fighter and talking, because like you said in the video, that neighborhood is not a great neighborhood to grow up in.
Yeah, unfortunately, because of the pandemic and because the everything was closed out, I haven't got actually the opportunity to go talk to the kids yet, but that's one of my goals. Like, it's always been my dream since I started fighting that one day I was going to win this UFC champion belt, and then I was going to walk into that school and I was going to show all these kids, like, you know, you're not just Eastside San Jose. You can do whatever you want in the world. Like, if I can do it, you can do it. So that's one of those things. I actually just started working with their organization called Bay Area Beat the Streets, and they help with a lot of like kids, help them out with wrestling and being able to provide, an outlet for them, a place, where they can feel safe and, do great things. And so I'm really excited to be on this platform to be able to do that.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
All right, there you have it. Cynthia Calvillo, after her big win over Jessica Ai in the main event of UFC on ESPN 10. Big win for her. She looked pretty good, and she had a lot to say. She had a lot to say at that post-fight press conference. She confirmed everything Joanne Calderwood was saying about Jessica Ai yesterday, saying that her manager received a text 30 minutes before she weighed in that Jessica was 129.5 pounds, somewhere in that neighborhood, and that if she had made weight, Cynthia would have had something to say, and I don't blame her. This story continues to develop even after the fight.
Yeah, I mean, if she does use the towel trick, the pinch in the towel trick, as Cynthia makes her way out, if she does use the towel trick and makes weight, that does, as it was phrased, as Oscar Willis, our good friend, phrased it, that would take money out of her purse. She wouldn't get that 25%. So she 100% would have said something. So Cynthia said there's no way she wouldn't have taken the fight, but she would have at least brought it up. She had the, quote, receipts, as the youths say these days. But yeah, looks great. I thought she looked real good against someone, as she said. I fought a bantamweight in there, a number one ranked flyweight, who came in as a bantamweight, and Cynthia beat her. Didn't blow her out the door, but she still looked. I wish I could. As soon as press conference are over, you think of questions you wish you had asked. She looked to me like a strawweight that just wasn't cutting weight. Looked like her body wasn't quite a flyweight yet. Jorge Masvidal, similar, when he made his welterweight debut, he just looked like a lightweight that just didn't cut weight. And then eventually, Poirier himself said it, like his first few fights at lightweight, he just felt like a featherweight that stopped cutting weight. But eventually he made his way up, as they're breaking down the stage right now. So it doesn't look like we're getting anyone else. But yeah, it's I expect in a few more fights she'll either feel or look more like a flyweight. But Kyle Chukagian's already calling her out, so props to her for getting the number one ranked, former number one contender attention in there.
Yeah, there's some big fights at 25 right now. I mean, Chukagian's there. She's coming off a big win, but of course, we got Lauren Murphy versus Roxanne Modafferi next week, so Cynthia could be right there to take on the winner of that fight. There's just 25's gotten a little more interesting after tonight. That was a big win for Cynthia Calvillo. Kind of wish we were going to hear from Jessica Ai to respond to everything that happened, but I'm sure we will hear from her in some way on social media after that fight tonight. But Jose, I don't know if I don't know if we're going to break some news right now, but Between the Links, you have a new opponent. Are you aware of this?
Who's that? No, you say opponent, I say victim. But who do we got?
Aaron Bronstetter is stepping in to take you on.
Okay.
So there you go.
Okay. I am to say I would be nervous would be a lie. Like, I am so not nervous for Aaron Bronstetter.
I will say this, Aaron, in both iterations of Between the Links pre-MMA fighting, Aaron Bronstetter had the greatest performance in the history of the show.
Congratulations. He hasn't faced me yet.
Well, that is something to look forward to.
He can't. Hey, let's make sure he doesn't have his computer open to look up all the stats and tweet out these things that, you know what I mean.
We got our promo. So now we need posters. We need promos before these episodes go down. I'm really looking forward to that on Tuesday. But Jose, get some rest, man. You've been doing this thing like crazy, and you're taking a week off, right?
What even is sleep? I don't know. Like, I get told I'm going somewhere and I go. Like, as far as I know, I'm going to be here. I don't know whenever they tell me to. So as soon as once our editor says, Jose, go to Vegas, I guess I'm going to Vegas. So I bet I have a different answer tomorrow.
There you go. I hope you're not leasing your vehicle. Hopefully you bought something. Yeah, no more leasing for you. But Jose, I appreciate your hard work as always. Any final thoughts before we say goodbye and get ready for the post-fight show?
I think it goes without saying that maybe this card wasn't the best on paper, but still, it was a fun card. It wasn't what a major success, but it was a good card. Also, Charles Jourdain, I want to give a shout out because he lost, and like within 20 minutes of him losing, as They collected the microphones. And within 20 minutes of him losing, someone in my comment section on Twitter messages me, he mentions me, and they're like, "Hey, does Charles Jourdain have a horde tattoo from World of Warcraft on his leg?" I was like, "Huh? What?" And I look at him, oh, he does. And then Charles Jourdain just jumps into the conversation, and they're just in this long conversation about World of Warcraft. Like 20 minutes after he just lost, I was like, "My God, man! Like, go get an ice pack on your head. Don't worry about this right now." But nerds unite. Much respect.
This is the truck. We just once you brought up World of Warcraft, every viewer just logged off, and we were down to 0 viewers as soon as you mentioned World of Warcraft. It's amazing.
This isn't about them. This isn't about them. This is about us, as Andre Feely said.
There you go. It's because they're all getting ready for the post-fight show. Alex Gailey is going to be jumping.
Good plug.
All right, Jose, thank you for your hard work. Thank you to the truck for making it happen. And they're getting kicked out. I am Mike Heck. We're going to be jumping on for the post-fight show in a matter of moments. So stick with us on YouTube.